beautiful, welcome back to the channel. My name is Princess Kelvin. If this is the first time of you tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in. I do videos related to nursing, lifestyle, and faith related content. So if it's something that's what interests you, please consider subscribing, sticking around to the end of this video. But then if you're also a returning subscriber or a returning viewer, thank you so much for always tuning in. I really do appreciate it. So in today's video, we are talking about overthinking, fears, and doubts. All this just go hand in hand, and we can be in situations in our life where we just have doubts and feel like whatever it is that we want, it might not go our way, and then we'll start having fears. Sometimes it can be so bad that the fear can stop us or stop us from moving forward. So that's the conversation we are having today. So in whatever situation we find ourselves, and we find ourselves having fears or having doubts or overthinking the whole situation, we should remember that God has plans, and his plans are to prosper us and to bring us to an expected end. So our reference scripture today is going to be Numbers chapter 13 and chapter 14. So it's actually very long, so I'm going to be giving you guys a backstory on what happened in that chapter 13 and 14. Okay, so the chapter 13 started with God telling Moses to send spies to the land of Canaan to go and survey the land and come back with reports telling Moses how the land is and what they found in the land, the kind of people that live there, anything that is of relevance to tell Moses that Moses should send out these spies. So yes, Moses obeyed the Lord and sent out spies to the land of Canaan. So he set out spies to the land of Canaan, and these spies went in. The Bible actually listed all their names, but just a lot. So the spies went into the land of Canaan, and then they spent 40 days there surveying the whole land. And they noticed that the land was actually very prosperous. It was fruitful, and um, and then they even brought back some grapes and some pomegranates and figs for Moses and all. So, but then again, they also saw the kind of people too that lived in the land, the kind of giants that lived there, because they say that they saw the descendants of giants there. So while they were telling Moses this, they were saying it in agony. They were like, the land is fruitful, the land is prosperous, but then we saw people that are so strong, they are so big, and I'm not sure, they were not sure that they can take on these people and actually conquer their land. So they were saying it they were coming off in a place of fear and doubt, and then they were saying that they cannot take on these people, that the land is prosperous, but then they cannot go and take the land that God has promised them. But then among the spies, there were Caleb and Joshua. Caleb and Joshua told them that no, that they can actually go and take over this land, uh, that God has already given them the land, so that they should not fear, that they can actually go and take over the land. So when Moses and Aaron, it was Moses and Aaron that were leading at that time. So when Moses and Aaron saw how they were addressing it, how the people were addressing it, the spies were saying, talking about this whole situation, they had to go to God in prayer. But before this will happen, before them going to God in prayers, these spies, they have already spread a false news among the people, telling them that the people that they saw in the land of Canaan, they are so big, they are so this, they are so that we cannot actually take them on and be able to conquer them and take the land that God has provided for them to take. They actually say the words that they used there was they felt as small as grasses. So that is, they felt as small as grasses when comparing themselves to these other people that they saw in the land of Canaan. But then after Moses and Aaron have gone to meet with the Lord, they came out, and with Caleb and also with Joshua, they were telling the people, saying that they can actually go and take over this land that God has already promised them, that they should not be afraid. So they were just telling the people, trying to calm them down, that see you, that we can actually take over this land that God has provided us, that God has been with us, that God has been faithful with us all this time, so that we should not fear that we can actually take over the land. But the people did not hear. They were saying things like, why will God bring us to the wilderness just to kill us? That this we have a better place to die in Egypt. Why did we come all this way just to come and die? That let's they find a way to go back to Egypt, and at least that place will be better than going to Canaan, where they will have to go and meet these giant like people and battle them, and then feeling like they will not win. So at a point when they were, let me just summarize, sorry, at a point when they were, um, Caleb and Joshua and Moses and Aaron was telling them that they can actually do this, the people got angry and they wanted to stone them. But then somehow the presence of the Lord came and they did not go along with it again. So this whole thing angered God, and God, this was now chapter 14 already. So this whole thing angered God, and God said that he was not going to, that he was going to kill them and destroy all of them and make them pay um for doubting him and all the complaining they have been doing. But Moses stepped in and begged God and pleaded with God. And this particular part just touched me. It reminded me of that place in the Bible where God says, bring in your strong reason, let us reason together. So Moses came in and he was like, God, if you destroy these people if you destroy the Israelites, that the Egyptians that you saved them for, we know. And then they'll be like, after God saved them, God still destroyed them. So after a lot of pleading with God, God finally agreed, and God said that he has agreed, but that they will not see the land that he has promised them because of their complaining. He will not destroy them, but they will not see the land that he has promised them. That was how this whole chapter 14 ended. And God also said, but Caleb, since Caleb was one of the people that stood, one of the spies that went after seeing the giant and everything that was there, he still believed that God was with them and he could go through and conquer the land as far as God is with them. So he said that that his servant Caleb has remained faithful and loyal to him, and he will bring him to the land that he explored, and his descendants will also possess the land. So that is basically what happened in chapter 13 and 14. There's a lot of things to be learned in this particular scripture, but I'm going to talk about three key areas that is very obvious to anybody reading this particular scripture. The first one is that with doubt, with fears, with overthinking, one thing that it brings forth in us is that it makes us to speak out negativity. And speaking out negativity is not good for any situation that we are in. We are supposed to speak out God's truth. We are supposed to trust in the Lord. Speaking out negativity shows that we don't trust in God, and we don't trust that God can pull us out from that situation. In the case of this scripture that we just read now, we saw how the Israelites were saying that the spies, first of all, were saying that they are small as grasshoppers in the sight of these people. They were already proclaiming negativity on their situation. They did not trust God at all. And then the Israelites started complaining that they would have died in the wilderness, so that for them going to this Canaan, land of Canaan, that God has already promised them. So that was a lot of negativity that they were just confessing over their situation, which is not good for any situation that we find ourselves. Number two is that doubt, fears, and overthinking can cause us to be backward. It can stop our progress and cause backwardness in whatever situation we are dealing with. In this case now, we saw that the Israelites, they were willing, because there was this particular verse that they say, let us choose a leader and go back to Egypt. They say Egypt that they have been coming from all these years. The same Egypt, they were maltreated, they were slaves, they were willing to go back. So that is just a life of backwardness. After spending years in Egypt, coming out from Egypt, still spending years on the journey coming out from Egypt, they were still willing to turn back and go back to that Egypt that they have been coming out from all these years. So it shows that with this fear, with negativity, with fear, overthinking and doubt, it can cause us to be willing to turn back and stop our progress in whatever situation we are dealing with. And that is what we saw in the life of the Israelites. It is very easy to judge the Israelites because we might be feeling like after God has shown himself faithful in the Israelite life, they were still doubting God. And it's not like I'm supporting them because what they did not try at all. But putting it in our lives, putting that kind of situation in our life where we feel like might not come true for us, and then we start speaking out our fears, start overthinking, and start speaking out our doubts. It can happen in different areas of our life. So we have to cautiously um, teach ourselves and tell ourselves and let ourselves know that God is always with us in every situation, and trust that He is with us in that situation. It's not just something that we just say, but we believe that He is with us in that situation. So this will stop us from proclaiming negativity, to also help us to move forward even in the face of fears, even in the face of doubt, even in the face of overthinking, and to help knock that overthinking. So the last thing I will say is that fear, doubt, and overthinking can steal the blessings away from us. So do not think your way out of the blessing that God has already promised us. Because from the scripture, you could see that the Israelites, after they thought about the whole situation, they were saying, how is this possible? How can we overcome these people? How can we face them and conquer them and take the land that God has promised us? They did not believe it. They did not even. They immediately started chaos and they started shouting, started saying, "How we go? God take us to another land to come and kill us. Why can't we just die in the wilderness?" Stuff like that. So after the whole thing, God was angry and God pronounced and said that they will not enter into the land that God Himself promised them because of their complaints. And this happened, they did not actually enter the land. It was then their descendants that entered that land. And all this was because of fear, doubt, and overthinking, and proclaiming out negativity, complaining. So that is what I have for you guys today. That is the message I have for you guys today. It can overthinking, doubt, and fear can actually steal what God has promised us, because, like we say, I know I mentioned this once or twice, that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and God advises us to choose life always in every situation. Choose life in every situation. So guys, I hope that this message blessed you, and I'm happy that you watched up to this point. If it blessed you, please comment, and if you have any contributions, comment in the comment section. I'll be there to reply you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Keep living, keep loving, and keep growing. Bye.